If you look at this video of the solar system, the way it has been put together, we see that every planetary system moves in a specific way, in a specific position, and we could never really understand the interaction of the gravitational magnetic field of them. In understanding this, we come to see none of these objects are connected like what we saw on a piece of a string or on anything else. They work within the fields, within the magnetic gravitational fields of the solar system. They work within the structure of gravitational magnetic field of the universe. What we see on the screen has been a dream of the man, to be able to replicate this, even in a small scale, where we can create these motions, where we can rotate, create day and night, we can rotate to create the annual cycle, and we can rotate in the coming time to understand what we call the solar cycle. And then we come to understand what we have as what they call galaxy cycle, and thereon. For the first time today, we have to strive to understand these motions, to understand how to create systems which can independently, within the fields of a structure, man-made or in the universe, we take our position in the same way. In our structure, we need to understand this. We need to strive to develop systems that can replicate this. Systems that can rotate, at the same time have a heartbeat, and at the same time to be circling a center. And we can, in this way, develop technologies that we can literally universally GPS our position and be able to replicate the structure of the universe, that we can make systems that can replicate this. At the present time, there is no such a knowledge. Has not been up to today. From today, we have access to this technology, has been developed, and in a very small scale, the first step in the development of the technology that can create a living entity like planet Earth, that we can measure, we can distance it in its position. And what we saw in a mechanical system from Harvard University picture before, which was done centuries ago or last century, now we can make a real three-dimensional systems, attached to nothing, connected to nothing, uses universal magnetic gravitational fields to manifest itself. For the first time today, we show a major breakthrough in the world of science and technology, which with it we show the first step in man joining the universal community in space travel. This will be the cornerstone of the new teachings, and we will teach this technology. Will be shown for the first time in 2 nations to the officials and the governments, and from then steps will be taken to share that with the rest of humanity. It is important that this is understood, because with this new technology, with this small breakthrough, which we will show in the next few minutes, you will understand a huge step in the science of space, cosmology, man's motion, and everything else which create the condition of life in universe and motion will be shown. It's taken years of development, but in a way, what you will see is a major breakthrough in the world of physics and science. For the first time, we don't need to make what we're seeing as the moons that we saw in the workshop, in the shop of the Keshe Foundation. This is the maximum we have managed to achieve. placing magnets to create position. If you look at the moon, which is for sale in the Keshe Foundation shop, you see it has a rotation, but the base cannot move. It's locked in position. It has no heartbeat. It has no existence of the confirmation that it is an entity which can position itself in what we call its environment. This has been the limitation. This has been what we have achieved up to now. This is what mankind's knowledge and science and technology has managed to give us to create such a position. Levitation. Levitation is what we have achieved. Fixed, using inertia. Not creating gravitational magnetic fields as a maggrav to be able to hold the inertia and the magnetic gravitational field together. For the first time in the world of science today, we show you this breakthrough. And then we leave to world scientists to develop it to the next step. Because once you be able to create such a perpetual rotation in 3 dimensions, mankind will reach the pivotal point of maturity that it can control its 3-dimensional thoughts, its being, its existence. Then traveling the way we see in the objects like UFOs become not just an object to travel, but becomes an object which has emotion, which understands the soul of its passengers, which travels in the dimension of existence. In the structure of the universe, this is normal. And now we add to the knowledge of man. We add to the extent that now we can live in the environment that not only creates energies and the fields that works within the structure of the heartbeat of the man, it works within the structure of the heartbeat of the soul of the man. Mankind has never understood that, as it says, I've made the man in the image of myself. Even the soul of the man has a heartbeat. For most of you who take the systems and you make the cup of soul, you have not had the heartbeat of the soul. Your system lacks completion. Your system is not complete. Your system has 2-dimensional life. The essence of its dynamism, the essence of this heartbeat of the soul is missing. That is why most of your systems do not respond. This is why you find out whatever you have made up to now is hit and run chance, not precise. In the coming new enhancement units, all this has been covered. In a way, we embed in it the soul of the man. We embed in it the heartbeat of the soul. We embed in it the material which makes the living that soul possible. This is a major understanding in the world of science for those who call themselves man of knowledge. From today, we shall see a new structure, independent. Very much like the moon, we will show you that the structure is free. We will show you how we have managed to achieve the heartbeat, which is the heart soul of the entity. We show you how we manage to achieve what we call self-rotation, perpetual motion, and at the same time, you will see for the first time holding on to the position. And if you put all 3 together, you will find out with what we will show today, we have reached the position not only to show the soul of the man can be contained in the dimension of the what we call the heartbeat of the soul, but we can show the same technology can be used for positioning man in a space In the same time, we can create a solar system structure and universal structure that we can in reality work within real data for positioning our spacecrafts and our soul in a given position and time. What you will see is very simple. What you will see is amazingly simple, but it's taken man thousands of years to achieve. And we have to understand the implication of it. We have to understand the application of it, and we have to understand, for man to be given this gift, man needs to sign himself to peace. Because with this revelation of today, you'll find out everything can be copied. Everything can be used to create new condition, enhance the soul of the man, enhance the physicality of the man, enhance and develop systems which can travel the depth of the universe in no time. This is the first step. This is where, as humanity, we will see, as was said, this is a small step, but a giant leap. It's a huge leap in the world of science. World scientists who will understand what is to be shown today, they will understand the world of physics, the world of cosmology, the world of medicine, in a real three-dimensional effect has changed. This is what we promise you. We bring you the universal system, the way the universe works, and through this, within the next few months, we'll strive in collaboration with the Iranian government, with the Sepah of Iran, with the Chinese defense technology, to bring this technology into force. We have committed ourselves to peace to these two nations. And in the coming time, you will see a collaboration between the two nations to deliver this technology directly from Tehran and Beijing. We have committed ourselves to this, and we'll see this technology will come out in a peaceful way for development of what we call the next step in being able to become man of universe. In so many ways, this new technology will change the game of power, energy. Will change the structure of social structure on this planet, where we can feed people directly without satellites. We can eradicate illnesses directly through the systems positioned in strategic points around this planet. Feeding the man with these systems will replace the present satellite system altogether, where we change the line of communication through the soul of the man, and we change the line of communication through a structure of the feeding the soul to feel the physicality, where the man shall not kill, where the man will respect another life. The implication of what we to show will change everything man has achieved today. In our work with the Iranian officials, through the team of Sepah of Iran and team of the Chinese space technology, we deliver new satellite system. Exactly the way the system has been in a universal structure, where there is no need for power and there is no need for feeding and depending on energy source. In this process, we bring Europe in line, and with it, we establish the world peace. This is not a dream. This is the fact and the reality, which is in the position of the Keshe Foundation. And we share, as we've done up to now. We respect the knowledge and integrity of every culture, but no nation. And with it, we'll bring the understanding of humanity to the same level. As of today, when the scientists understand what is delivered, all the satellites we have developed up to today becomes obsolete. From today, all the nuclear missiles become obsolete. From today, all those who think about war will not even understand what the word means, that it will not exist in their vocabulary. Mankind will enter a new era of a space development, a new era of satellite, what we call entities, which man will develop for a specific purpose to harvest. In so many ways, we have achieved a breakthrough and we share our knowledge. In totality, we have achieved much, and we have achieved a lot to be able to see, to show, and to be delivered. Just 1 second, please. In understanding this process, in being able to understand the whole structure of the change, we need to understand how the fields of the universe work. We need to understand that just 1 second, please. I have to. Sorry about that. The whole structure to understand how fields in the universe work. That the interaction of the fields allows the motion, allows the creation of condition of life, allows to be able to replicate and sustain life as is and shall be on any position in the universe. The explanation of the new technology is simple. We do not create a dynamic field which is locked to a position. We create a dynamic system which is locked to the universal position. We create a dynamic system in gravitational magnetic field without motors, that the forces of the universe will dictate the position and the speed of the rotation. The new technology is not locked to a position. The new technology is using fields of the universe, creating the environment of the fields of the universe, that we can replicate systems. In a way, for the first time, we create levitation, not. We create gravitational magnetic fields of the position. We are independent of time and the place. We are independent of any motor. We are independent of any magnets. We are independent of anything which locks man to matter state. In a way, we become locked into the fields of the universe. You got to understand, in the videos and the pictures we show, we had to take a lot of steps to make sure no one can see the structure. It might look a bit obscured, but at this moment of time, we prefer for you not to see how and the way it's done. We'll show you, as you've seen in the enhancement unit material production in Linz, the system freestanding on its own stand. The system to be as it is, like a sun on its own. But this time, within this sun, there is a structure of the solar system, which means within it, we have created field structure that planet like Earth can exist, and within the environment of it, it can maintain its heartbeat, it can maintain its rotation, and it can maintain its circulation around. If you understand this, developing systems like the heart of the man becomes absolutely child's play. Which means not only we will create the heartbeat, we can create the circulation of the blood system, we can create the condition as the magnetic fields which the blood creates to feed the man without the blood. This is important in the future technologies, that no matter where the mankind is in the universe, his base amino acid will have no more what we call accessibility by other fields to interact, to endanger the life and the position of the soul of the man within the structure of his physicality. In a way, we have replicated, and we can replicate the magnetic gravitational field of the blood of the man to hold and contain the soul of the man in its strength, in a conjunction with the soul, that in the future, man can take any position in the universe. This breakthrough, this understanding, in a way, is the beginning of a massive development in the process of mankind. And in the same time, and at the same time, we will come to understand more about the work of our own system. In a way, we will understand more in space and time. In a way, we understand more about our work. In a way, we understand more about how in the future mankind will be able to travel the spans of the universe. In so many ways, mankind has entered a new cycle of knowledge. A cycle of knowledge which is the universal knowledge, and in that process, mankind will enter to understand the totality of its creation. In so many ways, we will see the next step development. Rick, could you please check your secure line, please? We show the yellow first, and then when I ask you, you release the video. What we show you first is, for scientific reason and security reasons, you will see that we have managed to create a structure of a solar system without any attachment. It's just as it is in the structure of the enhancement unit sitting on the pole, where in that position we see detachment, we see the freedom. In a coming time, this ball itself will be kept in a floating condition. This is to show that there is no motors attached, and a solar system is within this ball. This is to show, for the first time, we don't use anything which mankind is used to. Could you show the video, please? This video will be and is one of the cornerstones and major breakthrough in the world of cosmology and physics. Now we can replicate the work of electron and protons. We can replicate every cell within the structure of the what we call plasmatic atomic structure. In understanding this, we open a new era in the world of science. This technology is a major breakthrough. As you watch this video, you understand why. As you see, the ball is like the sun or Earth, rotating on its own axis and taking a solar circulation. As you see in the floating of the water, you see the heartbeat of the system within it as it produces it. This has never been achieved. Independent rotation, perpetual rotation in 3 dimensions, and within the structure at the same time to be able to create that heartbeat. Now, by adding more the structures like this in this sphere, we can replicate Earth and its moon rotating at the same time together within the structure of the solar system. We can add gravitational magnetic field, the strength of every planet on this solar system. And this will bring new dimensions, as we will produce energies which is absorbed within the energy of the liquid, and then we can drain that to feed, to create new conditions. We can use this system and technology to create perpetual satellite system around Earth, and systems which is a copy of our own existence. As I said, this is absolutely a breakthrough in the world of science and technology. In the moon and the UFO, you were centered to one point. In what we call creation of motion and creation of the whole structure, we use the totality of the understanding of the creation of speed, motion, and life as is in universe. We will, in coming weeks, release more detailed development on this. But those of you who understand the work of cosmology, those of you who understand the work of physics, those of you who understand atomic and nuclear structure will understand the game of tokamak is over. The game of creating plasma on an entrapped environment with massive energies to control is over. This takes micro and milliamps to produce, but it works at the level of the creation of energy of the universe. This video will be shown for centuries to come if man understands. As first time on this planet, man has matured to understand the work of the universe. In the coming weeks, as we show you more systems, we will show you how the light will be created in this system. But there is one point. In a coming time, there shall be no liquid in this ball. It'll be exactly as is in universal condition, within the fields of the oceans of the gravitational magnetic field of the universe, where we create a miniature with the same knowledge and technology. In a way, mankind has entered the real phase of universal development of technologies which will change the course of humanity, makes whatever we done up to now obsolete, because now we don't need to create an atom with a given electron. We create the energy of the electron in its own dynamic system to lead to the creation of the atom. In so many ways, this video in its simplicity creates a new beginning for many of you knowledge seekers. If you understand it, and in due course, as I said, with collaboration with the Chinese and the Iranians, we develop the satellite system with this within coming months. I shall return to Tehran in a short time and to Beijing to complete the work with the two nations. Then the agreement between the two nations and with Russia will allow, if the Americans accept the World Peace Treaty, to be shared with them. This will paralyze and disengage all present satellite systems which are used for controlling mankind. With it, we deliver systems which, with it, will stop infection of the viruses on this planet, where there is no need for vaccination. On my return to Beijing in coming days and Tehran, we rapidly in our negotiations complete this directly with the scientists. A free access will be given to both nation scientists. There are more which we'll release to complete the cycle. At that point, we reach negotiation with the European community that no arms shall be made on this continent. Cornerstone of change. On the other hand, we shall be able to feed the nations through satellite system, where no man will sleep hungry and receives what it needs day and night. The way you receive the fields of your mobile phone does not matter where you are. We don't lock to you, we make it available that the soul and the soul of the man takes what it needs. This is what will change the course. This is part of the technology of the universal community, which is getting delivered in step by step to scientists that can understand it and committed to peace for creation of the next generation of man. Peaceful man and man of universe. Creating that heartbeat is the cornerstone of existence. Showing life, showing being able to release energies of the plasma at a given rate, that in totality everything tunes. We have a heartbeat tunes to the heartbeat of the earth, and the heartbeat of the earth tunes to the heartbeat of the sun, and the heartbeat of the sun changes and tunes to the heartbeat of the galaxy, and to the universe, and to the unicos, and to the creator. Now we have access and the knowledge to achieve this point. In so many ways, this little ball and this ball, as you see rotating, and with its heartbeat, can be the womb of a mother, creation of a life. Do we need to create the children of physicality to suffer, or through this technology we create the children of the soul? That life will change the course of humanity, and in so many ways we have shown the first step to life without dependence on the physical condition, unless we choose to. As I said, it's the time for knowledge to be released, that mankind within the next 4 months from now be able to access the universal community and to universal conditions. Creation of life through dimension of existence, creation of life through dimension of physicality, creation of life through dimension of physicality in the soul at the same time, where the man will create the new cycle. This in turn will open and brings mankind to the point of peace and entry to universal community. The process has already started. And in that system and in that level, we teach you more as we develop. Creation of condition that man will live independent of food, independent of understanding the environment if it does not want to manifest itself, and into the position that the mankind moves to newer structure. As I said, in the coming months, we'll make the present satellites obsolete. A new communication and a new computer system through this technology will be released through the two nations. And then we shall see in the next couple of years, the present computers will become obsolete. With this understanding, the present automotive industry has become obsolete. We see man will never tap into the resources of this planet to destroy it, and with it, destroy his own environment. This is, those of you who understand the breakthrough in the world of science, which mankind has been waiting for, to be able to use the fields of the universe, to tap into universal energy, and to be able to live what has been his dream. A free energy, which means it's free from the universe and not by name. And the beauty of it is, if you look at it, is rotating on its own axis, like Earth, but is rotating in the same circle within the cup of field. In future videos will show there'll be no medium. There is no cup in the solar system. Interaction of the field will create the new condition. One of the principal conditions with this technology, understanding the work of the universe, is the sun does not just radiate fields out. The sun, through its shell, receives back the fields which has sent out to create the gravitational force internally within its structure. And this is the key to what we call the operation of the new technologies. You don't look at, up to now, we have been in so many ways understanding the soul of the man. Now we understand the soul of the system. The soul of the system is not in that ball which rotates. The soul of the system is in the center of that ball where there is liquid. It's that center point which keeps this ball in its distance, in its position. As we will create the new conditions, you will see that this ball and the other balls which will be shown, like the Earth and the Moon, will have their own rotation. In a way, we can make replication of the solar system in a container. This is the beauty of the new technology. As it says in the background, one planet, one nation, one race, one knowledge, one technology. And as you can see in the shape of the structure inside, when you look, it looks like a face. It's got two eyes and a nose. And if you look at it, it's very much the structure of a planet.
The ball rotating has a heartbeat. Is that what makes it move? And then Hassan says...
The heartbeat comes from inside the ball, the rotation, perpetual rotation on its own, comes from the interaction of the fields inside it. The rotation within the ball comes from the interaction from the inside and outside. There are three sequential systems.
Okay, Hassan goes on to say, you said this motion shows in a way the heartbeat of the soul and will be accessible to those who are peaceful.
Shows motion. It shows a cup. It doesn't have a center. It's actually isolated from any base here. And Mr. Keshe will go on in the future to show this without the ball in it and with just liquid in it, creating a spiral or a whirlpool, so to speak.
What do you mean?
Did you say in the future you would be showing this cup without a ball in it? I do believe. And you said you will be showing just the liquid spinning with no ball in it.
We will show without the liquid. We actually
And
the
even
set.
without the liquid as well. I see.
Yeah.
So this is
we have just set that the structure up for it.
Excuse me, sir.
We have set up the structure in the lab now to create a condition without the liquid. We are replicating a galaxy at the moment in the office, in the lab. And we are pushing the knowledge to the point that we do not need to use any medium.
This ball with the eyes and the nose, and it looks like a mouth, or depending on the angle, did that form just appear there during the testing?
No. It's deliberately done.
Okay.
It's deliberately done. It's deliberately structured. We have, I think, about 50 different combinations at the moment. We can literally replicate now the solar system. But creating the solar system without the sun, with the center point, is the problem, or is the what we're trying to achieve. In the next few weeks, we strive, maybe Monday, Tuesday, we strive to get to that point without medium. But it's a long shot, but we have the knowledge, we have the capabilities.
When I first saw this video, I thought of the self-charging chip that you've kept in your pocket for so long. And I said, oh, he's showing us I mean, obviously in the self-charging chip, it'd probably go a little faster and a little smaller and so on. And then when I saw the head rolling around, I said, I know you speak on many different levels with a lot of multiple meanings in duplitant. And I said, gee, this is a message to some who see it that way as the end of control of man in the financial area, in the energy area, in the feeding, food, cultural area, in the health area, as well as in the area of the soul of the man, in the religious area. So I saw this ball as, in English, we have a say, heads are about to roll, metaphorically, so to speak, in all these different venues, let's say.
Yeah, it's just that we try to it's an understanding of the creation and creating the condition of the creation. If you understand it, and you can replicate it, then what you call you play games with positioning, with running it, with understanding it, we become good in creating universal conditions, and it is the functionality of it, that we can function within what we build and it responds. We have managed to create many, many new phenomena. And it all depends on our negotiations with the 2 or 3 governments we're negotiating. How are we going to bring it out? As I said in the teachings, we have asked the head of the Keshe Foundation, the 2 ladies, on the terms of negotiation. We deliver technology. They negotiate the education part on the peace side. They have the capability to do so. Many, many things, as I see it, will change in the world of science. Many fundamental theories which we never understood will be explained, will be brought out. And the understanding of the structure of the work in the world of creation will lead us to a new phenomena, understanding new things which we didn't know. And we are establishing it in the lab. Today we literally two structures which build about 4 galaxies in as we say, in the oven cooking. It's taken weeks and months of preparation. But we might show you that if we can, that you might see, as you see now, the ball floating in the liquid. You will see the same ball with the same heartbeat floating in the air. And we have the knowledge to position it where about the air we want it to be. It's a very interesting time in the lab. And that's where I wanted to go back to, and I'm back in there. So it's playing childish games with the creation.
Did you also have a reference to harvesting souls?
What is this? Why do we need to harvest souls? I don't understand what this means.
I thought that was your terminology in the actual video. And the understanding will come a little later for something. And I think you referred
we can enhance souls. The whole condition is what we are working for now, targeting work-wise, is to create that elusive transportation of cells. We are working in that direction, and it's essential for us to understand most of it. But at the same time, we have to, add to the systems that the enhancement units meet the delivery next 2 months. It's a very complicated game. It's not easy. But it's something that we cannot teach. At the moment, we're just literally putting data and gathering knowledge, deciding when we shall disperse with the knowledge. creating that heartbeat in that water, creating the central rotation, what you call it, in its own axis, and then creating the next rotation in the what I call environment of the ball is years and years of research and knowledge. Never been done. Now we want to take the same thing and see if we can make it without liquid. I was working on it till 6, 7 o'clock on Friday before I left the lab. And the team were working till 10 o'clock, just finishing it up. We do one experiment maybe a day sometimes. The rest is just the preparation, preparing everything for the next step, next step. Sometimes it takes us 1 week to do one test.
So, Mr. Keshe, what role does the liquid play?
Floating it. That's all it is. Literally floating it and literally is a specific liquid. It's not a normal liquid. And we have access to huge, what I call cabinet of gases. You see some very few, if you've been to the exhibition center, we carry most probably totally maybe about 200 in the center and with me separately. In knowing what condition you want to create, what environment you want to create, what you expect from it, is all by all is knowledge. As I was saying to one of the knowledge seekers a couple of days ago, I just asked to bring 2 or 3 gases on the table. I said, what can you do with these gases? Oh, nothing. I said, if you were my position, if you were a nuclear physicist like me, you know you have access to one of the most powerful radioactive materials in this room. But you don't know how to mix it. That's what it is, how you fix it, how you mix it, how you place it. Very, very little, tiny knowledge would be to get it rotating the way you see it in the ball. It's taken a lot of time. And I know what to do with it. But my habit is I don't do. I just sit and wait for the knowledge seekers to push it. And if they can't, I just told them, you got to put it this, there. And it starts rotating. So why don't you? I said, because I have to see what you learn, what you can do. There is a reason Earth rotates on its axis. There's a reason why Earth rotates in the solar system. We have to understand all of it. It's not just putting it in and it happens. We change another ball into this liquid and it runs about 3,000-4,000 RPM. Same liquid, the same environment. It just goes crazy.
So in order to get rid of the liquid, you need to create an environment that interacts with the atmosphere the way it is now interacting with the liquid? That was a question.
You call it atmosphere, we call it environment. Atmosphere of universe. Universal atmosphere is very different than mankind universe. This is a big, big difference. Very big difference.
Is something similar when you say you create a field of oxygen, not the oxygen.
Exactly.
The soul of what you are need.
Yeah.
Is this message to the governments? It's time to play ball.
It's a message to humanity we are here to deliver.
Mr. Keshe,
Yes.
if you want to create a condition in the matter state, you consider what we look at as the 4 states of matter. So in the as you're showing the ball in the liquid, is, how do I put this, is if you want to
Very
manipulate
cleverly that I don't answer.
okay, great. That's because I don't want you to spoon feed me. I want to, I guess the question is if I want to affect one state of matter, whether it's the gaseous atmosphere or the liquid matter, I don't want to use that state of matter in my, to create my condition. I don't know if that's the right way to put it. That if I want to go from a liquid to a gaseous state of manipulate or controlling that focus, that I would take that state of matter out of my condition. I don't know if that's the way to speak about it either.
Repeat it again. Let's speak it till we find out if you spoken the right way.
In the condition that you're showing, you have the GAN state, which is the combinations of all the states of matter that we understand, and yet you've chosen to the environment as a liquid of some sort. Does that mean that the condition that, like the globe that you put around it, that's the liquid is the state that's absence from the condition around it?
Maybe you can define it that way. Or maybe let's put it the other way, which you understand better, I presume, is what the material does not absorb as rays is what the color we see. If you understand that terminology, in the world of science, what cannot be absorbed by the body, we see it. If it's red, it means everything else gets absorbed except red. That's why we see the material as red. If I understood my world of teachings of physics, so what you want to float in or float with is what you cannot have.
So I guess my question is, the material around it,
You're doing
how,
a lot of guessing, huh? You're
no,
pushing
not
it.
guessing.
Let's see.
And I'm not trying to guess. I was saying is that if we look at the material that's around it, one of those is how it was created is lacking something that we wish to create the condition within. Oh, I don't know how to say it.
I can see what you're trying to say. I can feel what you're trying to communicate. But in so many ways, the world of science doesn't change if you change the environment. The principle is always the same. So you have to consider that part. You have to understand that part. And once you do, the rest is easy. In the just 1 second, please.
Further down the road, when we understand this technology more, would it be possible to correct the Earth's position in space?
What do you mean by that?
Well, as I understand, we are off course by a long way due to the oil burning on the planet and using what was in the center of the Earth.
What do you mean by that? You can go with the knowledge your knowledge seeker have. Today, you can travel the span of the world. But you don't put, as we say in English, you don't put your back into it. You don't put your knowledge into it. If you listen to the teachings, everything is in there. That's why I say in the lab, they say, oh, we heard this one, but we couldn't understand what it means. It's listen, understand the logic behind it. I don't do anything in the lab which hasn't been taught. I literally just move a small piece somewhere and pops out new condition, new environment, new effect. If you've been in the lab, I don't go and build things. Building huge things is for those who just want to do something. I work with little things, I work with the small reactors, but when I build a reactor, everything is considered. But knowledge seekers, you have everything. What I work with, what I made this, what you see floating and says such a change, it's all what is in the teaching. There is no magic.
So, Mr. Keshe,
Yes.
as we continue to work backwards.
Why don't we walk forwards, understanding more?
I know, but what we see now, we have to work backwards to try to understand and connect what you've taught us to what we see in confirmation. That's
heard
one
of your clever guys says, "Oh, this is what we just, what do you call it? Been talking in the teaching this week." Where is Jalal? So it means you all know it. If it is, and some of you understand it is there, but you have to remember everything counts. Everything counts. The positioning, the nano coating, the gas coating, everything, and how you do it, the way you do it, every, as we say in English, every nitty-gritty counts. But you don't. The habit is, oh, I do it this, and that's it. If I don't get it, there is something wrong with it. Sometimes you receive surprises. What you don't expect, you see. Sometimes you get exactly what you're planning for. It's taken me one morning to set up a structure of a galaxy. But you have to understand that in the lab we have so much access to so much materials that doesn't exist in most of your what I call rooms or garages or wherever you do these tests. The Keshe Foundation lab has at least 1 or 2 million euros of stock and materials and things in it. When we add up, we want something, I was saying to people in the lab, we just want something and you just raise a hand and it's there. But if you want to do it, you have to go and find a place where you go to shop and you see. It's all been gathered over years, 30, 40 years of research. A couple of weeks ago, I wanted to explain a phenomena, and I just asked, has anybody seen such a thing in the lab? And they said, yeah, it's something sitting in the back. I said, bring it in on the table. And within minutes, what I wanted, it was shown and it was understood what is the next step in the development. And I said, this thing, what you see, I sent somebody 10 years ago in 2009, 2010, maybe around that time, 2 years to a class to learn how to make this. The guy spent nearly 2 years in college to learn what was it straight away on the table. It could be tested. I paid huge amount of money for it to be developed. Huge amount of money. And now that knowledge sits with what you see on this yellow cap. This yellow cap, what's under it, it has cost me, I don't know, 200,000 to 300,000 euro, maybe more. And years of research. What I could see this, what's on this yellow cap, in 2008, I designed it in 2010. I had to find someone to make it. And the guy had to go to college for 2 years to learn how to do what I was looking for. He said it can be done, but I cannot see how. I have to go. And then one day he called me and says, what you were thinking about, I've made it. And I picked it up. If you pass it in the lab, you don't even think about such a thing.
It looks as though the yellow plastic or whatever was at one point sealed for a time.
No,
And then
this
opened.
says no. The ball was open till maybe 10 minutes before this picture was taken. And I asked, I don't want anything to be shown. So what they did, they used the yellow tape to do it, covered it.
Ah, I see.
But that's all. That's how simple it is. But what's in that ball, what you see is that in window, because they took a picture from the window, you could see this roll bowling in the window. I said, no, we don't want it to be shown. But the technology, you don't have it. Nobody has this knowledge. I brought it up from universal knowledge, from tokamak, from fast breeder reactors, knowledge in the background of touching CERN, high-speed radiation. And this is what you see in a simple way on the table. It's the knowledge of gravity and inertia, it's the knowledge of magnetic fields through matter state and plasma state. That ball on its own, what it does now is 20 years of research, maybe beyond. And what sits there, you don't see it. When I open it, it's only maybe cost with €5, €10 basic of it can be made. It's taken tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of euros. And it's taken 8 weeks to teach to one knowledge seeker, 2 knowledge seekers. Now we are creating the plasma field like universe to see how two galaxies interact. By tomorrow night, we'll see new dimensions, most probably. But to make it, even in the lab, they started about 6 weeks ago, preparing the tools for it.
So could you possibly simplify the intention of what this is to show? What is it? Just the replication of the, not just the replication, but it's just to replicate the Earth's movement in the universe in relationship to the fields, or?
In a way, is showing how state of fields affects other fields. In this structure, there is no matter state. This is the beauty of it. There is no matter state here. We don't deal with matter state.
But yet, if you're in the intermediary, there's still the inertia component within it.
Inertia exists in the galaxies. Inertia is not just a property of the planetary system. Universe, the span of the universe has both gravity and inertia.
When you wrote it, the intermediary, you said gravitational plus magnetical plus inertia is a way of defining the intermediary between the field state and the matter state. Does that still hold true?
It holds true in any position in the universe. Depends which one you want to increase. If you increase the inertia, you see the matter state. If you increase the gravitational, you see black hole. But exactly everything is the same. Nothing changes. If you go and read the paper about creation of black hole, it's what you see here. One of the biggest things which knowledge seekers don't understand, and I literally bang my head for years against the wall for it, but they don't see it, and we get it in alkaline and acidic and whatever we look at, is to create a black hole, what do you need? What does a black hole do? Go back to the principle of the science and technology of a plasma. The weakest feeds the weakest get fed by the strongest. So if you're a black hole, you have to be the weakest of the weakest, not the strongest. That everybody wants to feed you. But none of the knowledge seekers picks on it. You just don't do. It takes me 2 seconds to make a black hole. It took the guy to come up with a lot of rubbish theories which never understood. And in a way, in the center of this ball rotating, there's a black hole that is trying to pull, and the strength in that environment, in that ball, holds itself to the wall. But it keeps distance from the black hole. I feed you as much as I like, but that's all you're going to get. And now you listen to the theory, the black hole is the biggest pool and absorbs everything. What a cockahoo. If you understood the principle of the plasma, the weakest gets fed by the strongest. So you have to be, in totality, the weakest of the all that everybody wants to feed you. So what do you take if you're the weakest all? Subatomic, submolecular, subfields. Because man is used to everything has to be big to be correct. Scientists don't understand the science, so they're in a problem. If you want to go to a condition of black hole, go to submatter condition, not to go into the center. I'm the beginning, I'm the end. By being the lowest, I become the biggest, and when I become biggest, I have to give to become lowest again. Which part of his knowledge seekers don't understand, I don't know.
Perhaps the part where you explain about the system of 5 cups, when you're speaking about a vertical plate or horizontal plate or number of plates for creating the what condition you need, the gaseous, the material, the liquid, or perhaps when you explained about rotation, what's happened when you're rotating the reactors, like let's say a ball of Rick, how it's creating the difference, where it stayed the weaker, where it stayed the lower, and where it's this protuberance inside of balls for creating turbulence, perhaps.
So if I ask you, is there weaker deuterium within this condition? Such that instead of thinking about it to be stronger, we think it as weaker, in that we create the condition that the hydrogen and the deuterium facilitate the rotation.
Can I answer with a little joke? I have the hole in my brain. I try to feed you, and my brain is growing.
Not the hole in the head, right? Not the hole in the head not growing.
As knowledge seekers, you got to analyze as knowledge seekers. Comprehend the science, not copycat what it is. It's understanding of the creation, not creating to understand. It's two different things. If you understand it, you can create anything, but they keep on creating to understand. It doesn't work that way. And that's why most of the knowledge seekers are random. Take your time, maybe a week, a month, for one experiment, and then take a month or two to build what you want to do, and then take your time to understand what you build on the month or two. In 1 year, you do one test, but when you do it, even you still could make mistake or understand something new. Now, we have developed new materials, totally new materials, never existed. We have developed new transformers. No one can imagine transformers can be. We can drop from 20, we have made adjusters in the way I call it. We can from 200 kilohertz to 40 kilohertz in milliseconds with use of materials. We can go to 10 hertz, the same. We can go from 1 amp to 200 amps by development of new materials. but it needs understanding the technique. It took me half an hour to explain. It took one night till 3 o'clock in the morning. They stayed in the lab to make it. And next morning, we just plugged it in. 200 kilohertz, 240. And total cost, $1. Permanently operating under the same. Permanently creating current and energy. Converting waves into energy, but within the structure of the plasma. I always say people don't understand, I don't understand. So why you keep on telling us you don't? Because you really don't understand what you're doing, and then say, we are not stupid. Nobody said anybody is stupid. It's just that knowledge has not been understood, and you cannot force feed, and you cannot chew and feed.
Is it possible to hear from the person that did this, to have them describe what they, if someone created this, if it wasn't you that actually did this, that someone else, that you taught someone to do this, is it possible to hear from them about how their experience and what they've learned?
We have brought a rule as of early this year, and we now literally tighten it down because research is very deep. No members of the Keshe Foundation who work within the lab can teach or give teachings or classes or workshops or share knowledge. Anyone who does will be dismissed from the research center. And it's so precious to work there that nobody breaks the rule. Because we test on the edge. People don't understand, and if the knowledge goes out prematurely the way we want it, can cause a lot of, it's not censorship, it's creating condition that the right time everybody gets it. Because a couple of people working in the center, they start talking, and it was very simple. They all have signed non-disclosure agreement. Breaking it is dismissed. It's a beautiful environment to work in. It's relaxed. Anybody does what, whatever their own job. But if any of the people, especially from now on in the lab, speak outside, they will lose their jobs.
Well, what I meant was more of a historical archived, they created a paper for the archive, and someday it would be released. We don't have
time. We make so many things in the same time in one day, in 1 week. Archives doesn't exist at this speed of rapid development. We don't have time.
So, Mr. Keshe, way forward then is you're spending time in the lab to teach those who can accomplish these things and come to an understanding of this. And then they need to produce prototypes or produce, like you talked about, the 200 to 40 amps, something that can be shown. And then you show this to governments and you have to get them on board. And then at that point, it could be taught more openly. Is that the procedure?
In a way, we can say that, but in a way, we spend a lot of time developing things. You got to work on one principle, that there is nowhere in the universe which is void of fields. It's your responsibility to understand the strength of a field at a given point. You can build systems to detect it, to measure it. You can use your own body as a detector. You can use the structure of the field of your own body. You can do many things. But as we know, there is nowhere in the universe which is void of fields. So at any point, you have possibility of inertia, magnetic gravitational field, tangibility, and even emotion. So whatever rhetoric you use, at the end of it, that's the bottom line. You can't go any lower than that. Life exists in every dimension, in every corner of this universe. It's for us to define life or existence in that point. Is it water and fish? Is it the air and a bird? Is it land and a mammal? Is it dimensions we see above on the upper atmosphere? Moving objects with the visibility? What is our concept? What is our understanding of our own existence? Where do we go with this? What we expect? What we want to see? In the lab, I set a system. I said I want to see light. I set a system. I want to see motion. I set a system. I want to see motion from light. All is pre-decided what I want to see, and I create the environment for it. I don't go and build a thing. There's a difference between a world of the man's life and world of the science of universe. You go to make things. I go to create conditions for things to manifest themselves according to the environment. It's a huge difference. It's a different understanding. It's a different concept.
Well, that's why I said what we have in front of you was created with an intention, and that's why I was just wondering if that person will ever, because they had to have gained something from your knowledge that allowed them to intend to create this condition, not just build it.
In a way, you're right, but on the other hand, we set out to make, I think, 20 balls. With different understanding, with different expectation, build new materials, lighter than the air, build materials which sink to the bottom. We have a system where, for example, the system stands still in the same position and pops up and down very, very gently as a heartbeat. We have a system which goes and sits at the bottom and rotates like crazy. We have a system that you don't even feel it by the look of it. Look, it should weigh kilos, so you don't even feel it in your hand. We work with the scales on the table. We see how our scale moves up and down. Are we gaining gravity or losing weight? It's the easiest way to do. Electronic scale, and you work and you see You start with 1 kilo, you have 500 grams in a few seconds. So you're going what? You're taking off. Change the environment, gets worse. We need to change our concept of matter state to field state, energy, motion of field. And this is what I've been saying for months and months, and people don't understand. So you're still in the Maghreb games and Gans game. Ganses were made to create conditions. Ganses were not made to be used as objects.